Hey everybody, Toshagun here. Today I'd like to take a few moments to talk about Fortnite Battle Royale and how I feel about the state of the game now versus when I started playing the game back in Chapter 1, Season 3. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So to start this video essay off, I'd like to mention again that I started playing Fortnite Battle Royale back in March of 2018. That was during Chapter 1 Season 3, and I had just received an Xbox One for Christmas, and I was one of the many players who started playing Fortnite during its popularity rise during Chapter 1 Season 3. I quickly became hooked and played for hours a day with my buddies. I was introduced to the Battle Pass by one of my Xbox friends named Cobra. At first I wasn't sure if I wanted to purchase the Battle Pass. I was unfamiliar with how it worked at the time, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to spend my money on a free game. But I eventually gave in and asked my dad if I could have $10 to purchase the Battle Pass, and thus the grind began. But it really wasn't just a grind. I was having a blast playing Fortnite at the time, and didn't mind playing countless matches a day, even if I wasn't winning. I was having fun leveling up and earning rewards with my friends, and that continued when Chapter 1 Season 4 rolled around. Chapter 1 Season 4, in my opinion, began the storyline of Fortnite Battle Royale. I guess technically it started towards the end of Chapter 1 Season 3 when the meteors started falling from the sky and started crashing into the island, but the storyline really began during Chapter 1 Season 4. That's when Dusty Depot got destroyed and the Rocket Live event happened. Playground mode was added, which was revolutionary at the time, and what about the first ever crossover, the Infinity Gauntlet LTM, which literally let you play as Thanos. That was legendary. Shopping carts, the first mobility item, were added to the game, and hell, I'm one of the very few people who has the Max Omega with all the colors. And throughout all of this, my buddies and I would still hop on every day after school and on the weekends and play for hours at a time without a care in the world. And this brings us to Chapter 1 Season 5. Chapter 1 Season 5 is one of my favorite Fortnite seasons to date, which may seem controversial due to the spray meta at the time involving the drum gun, P90, and many more. But I was having the time of my life during this time, and it was summer of 2018, and I met some online friends of friends through Fortnite who I still talk to this very day. This was also the season where Paradise Palms was added, and Kevin the Cube was introduced to the game, which further progressed the Fortnite storyline even more. And who could forget Thanos Lake when Kevin the Cube, rolled into Loot Lake, causing the entire POI to become a huge trampoline. And I remember trying to hit trick shots when bouncing through Loot Lake, or what about Fortnite's first birthday event? That was awesome and gave out some free rewards. Or what about toys? Toys were added for the first time in the Season 5 Battle Pass, and since then we haven't seen too many of them. What about ATKs? Those are extremely fun to drive around the map, and you can fit an entire squad in them. At this time I was having so much fun, and so were my friends. But with so much time between the beginning of Battle Royale and Chapter 1 Season 5, and not to mention the huge impact Playground mode had when it was introduced in the previous season, players had a lot of time to practice and improve their skills. Which leads us to Chapter 1 Season 6. Chapter 1 Season 6 was an interesting time for Battle Royale. This was when the center of Loot Lake became a floating island. 6 shooters were added to the game, and so were shadow bombs. Wailing Woods had an underground layer beneath it. Quad crashers, which were a blast to drive, were added during the season. We also had Fort Nightmares, which added husks to Battle Royale for the first time. With all of these major changes to the game, it felt like a lot to take in at the time. But nonetheless, my buddies and I still woke up extra early on a school morning to update our game and check out the map changes, and of course the Battle Pass as well. Although my buddies and I still play the game consistently to this point, I was starting to feel a little burnt out. Some players were extremely skilled, and it was getting difficult to keep up the pace of the better players in some matches, and this became an even bigger problem in Chapter 1 Season 7. Chapter 1 Season 7 introduced 2 brand new vehicles, being the hoverboards and the extremely controversial airplanes to the game, along with an entire new section to the map similar to the desert biome that was added back in Season 5. Season 7 introduced the snow biome with several POIs added to it. The map was huge at this point, and one of those new POIs, that being Polar Peak, introduced our second mythic item to the game, that being the Infinity Blade. The Infinity Blade was extremely overpowered, giving you 200 health and 200 shield with regenerative abilities. It was also able to harvest materials, and it took Epic a while before they nerfed it and eventually removed the Infinity Blade from the game entirely. But the biggest change to occur this season was the addition of a brand new game mode, that being creative. Players were finally able to create their own Fortnite island and minigames that weren't possible in playground mode. Players had creative control and infinite time with access to infinite materials and all the weapons in the game at their fingertips, which allowed them to practice as much as they wanted to become more skillful players, which leads us to Chapter 1 Season 8. Chapter 1 Season 8 was a crazy experience. We had an entire volcano to loot, cannons to shoot with, lava to jump on. Yeah, that was a thing we could do, but we also had ballers, and a fan favorite weapon was added to the game, the flint-knock pistol. We also had the boom bow for the very first time, which was fun to use, but at this time my friends and I were starting to get bored and overwhelmed with Fortnite. Even though this season's battle pass was free due to challenges in the previous season awarding those who completed them with this season's battle pass, there was always so much going on and too much to keep track of during matches. It was starting to become a chore. And this was the first time one of my friends, we'll call him Galacta, didn't max out a battle pass since Season 2, and he stopped playing the game out of frustration, and frankly I was right there with him. Although I continued my Fortnite journey with a few of my other friends who were still addicted to the game, and this would ultimately take us over to Chapter 1 Season 9. Chapter 1 Season 9 brought us a futuristic theme by changing the classic POI's Tilted Towers and Retail Row to Neo-Tilted and Mega Mall. Slipstreams were also added to the game for more mobility around the map. Fortbytes, a challenge to collect 100 of these little collectible chips every day, were added as well for Battle Pass owners to receive a new outfit for those who seek them out. All of this with the constant grinding and leveling up of the Battle Pass would ultimately take us to Chapter 1 Season 10. Chapter 1 Season 10, also known as Season X. Where do I even begin? Well, to start, I want to mention this. From the season I started playing, which was Chapter 1 Season 3, all the way to Chapter 1 Season 9, I maxed out every single Battle Pass, reaching Tier 100 and completing every weekly challenge to date. I simply was not able to do so during Season X. At this point, there was too much going on in the game, and one of my personal favorite POIs, Dusty Depot, was brought back, along with the classic factories to go along with it, yes, but at the same time, mechs were added to the game. The mechs single-handedly killed the game for not only myself, but for many streamers and YouTubers, content creators, my friends. It seemed like everybody hated these overpowered mechs, and EpicGames kept them in the game. They were too strong to fight against, and you couldn't build your way out of a fight against a mech or escape one. If you were face-to-face with a player who was using a mech, you were most likely to lose that fight, which ultimately caused me to quit the game during this season. And I was at a point where I simply wasn't having fun with the game anymore. It felt more like a chore rather than a video game, and I reached Tier 50, which was the OG classic music disc, and once I did that, I turned off Fortnite and didn't play it again. Until Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 1. For 2 days after Chapter 1 Season X had ended, a black hole is all you would see if you booted up Fortnite. Everybody was going crazy over this, thinking that this was the end of Fortnite, but it surely wasn't, right? Introducing Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 1, a brand new island, brand new POIs, brand new weapons, brand new default skins, and bots? Yeah, this was a brand new Fortnite. A sequel, perhaps? Nonetheless, I had a blast this season. It was fun discovering new POIs and experimenting with brand new weapons and trap killing the bots because I wasn't good enough to trap kill real players, and not to mention this season's Battle Pass felt fresh with brand new skins and idle animations. Additionally, this season was extremely easy to level up in. I actually reached Tier 100 without the Battle Pass because I wasn't originally going to purchase this season's Battle Pass. But leveling up was so easy and I had 950 V-Bucks to spare, I figured after I reached Tier 100, I'd get my V-Bucks back and more. This season was very promising, but there was an eventual downfall for me, and that being the sweaty Fortnite players again. You see, a brand new map, POIs, weapons, etc. It was great and all, but it was so hard to keep up with how good the players were still, and I know that's not necessarily Epic Games' fault, nor the players. They've just got better over time, but this would lead us to Chapter 2 Season 2. Chapter 2 Season 2 is regarded as one of the best seasons Fortnite ever had, but I have to disagree with this. I was back to simply not having as much fun again. This was when IO guards were added for the first time, which were extremely annoying to fight against, and this season also had so many mythic items such as Sky's assault rifle and grappler, Midas's drum gun, Brutus's minigun, and many more. This season had fan favorites like Deadpool and Midas, who I controversially don't even think is that good of a skin, but I wasn't able to enjoy myself once more, which led me to not purchasing this season's Battle Pass and very rarely even playing it all this season, and this would sadly continue to Chapter 2 Season 3. Chapter 2 Season 3 would be the last Fortnite season I play for a very long time, a few years at least. This was when the entire map was flooded, and frankly, I don't remember much of the season at all. I didn't play very much of it. A few matches at most, and I got a Victory Royale once or twice with one of my friends, but that was it. This was the end of Fortnite for me for a few years.